let's say you keep stubbing your foot on a piece of furniture at night in your bedroom. Eventually, you'd probably move the piece of furniture, right? Or walk a different way.
Right. Yep.
You're not just going to be like, oh, no, eventually, after my toe has been broke, I'll probably figure out not to step in that path anymore.
Right.
No, you move the furniture. It's the same thing. Okay, I'm going to try. We're recording. Can't do it, dude. Okay, welcome back to MTGA, the Make Trades Great Again podcast, with your hosts, Eric and Andy. Today, we're going to talk about my carpal tunnel surgery. Okay, that's all I got. I tried to do
all you got. That's all you can muster.
So, I can't do it. It's not even funny, but yeah, it's funny to me. Yeah, oh, man, I tried to do my best NPR impression, guys, and I let you down. Or did I? Oh, no. Today, Andy, I just wanted to go over a quick update because I keep getting a lot of nice questions in the DMs and stuff over on Instagram asking about because I posted a few things on stories and stuff, and we talked about it on the podcast. It was episode 279. God, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Where we talked about, it was titled Quit Putting It Off.
Right.
And I was days after that episode, I was going to be having surgery on my first carpal tunnel surgery on my, it was going to be on my right hand, and then my second was going to be on my left hand, because you only get it once on each hand, I guess. I kind of said that weirdly.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. And so we talked about it in that episode 279. So if you want to listen to that, go ahead, go back to that if you haven't heard it. It's also up on YouTube, so you can watch it if you want. But Andy, I've been getting a lot of messages, like I said, asking about it. People are curious, and I think it has a lot to do with just kind of course, over on social media, a lot of people following me because they too are plumbers or HVAC or electrical, that kind of thing. And in that episode, you had just talked about having come off a short stint of healing from I wouldn't say it was a minor.
No,
I guess it was kind of a minor surgery, but it was serious to me. It sounded serious to me, what you had done.
Yeah.
Whole premise being that we had been putting off something that didn't need to be put off. We could have just got it taken care of.
Yep.
And so let's just give them a little recap. I mean, we kind of got a recap from you before, but how about, we're almost like 2 months later now since that episode.
Yeah.
So you, I would imagine, are like fully on the mend. You're done, right?
Yeah. As far as everything goes, I mean, I think my recovery was, what was it? 2 weeks, nothing over 5 pounds. And then, which is crazy because you go from, being out doing your thing in the field and, I'm going to pick this 80-pound bag of salt up, or I'm going to carry this piece of pipe, or I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to swing this hammer. I'm going to, pound this anchor in. You don't get to do any of that.
You don't get to do really anything, to be honest with you.
No.
Because as soon as you start, even with the light stuff, turning screws with a screwdriver or something, all of a sudden you're gonna find yourself reaching for that next thing, like you're saying, and boom, it's over limit. Like it's kind of hands off at that point, right?
Yeah. And that was kind of where it had to be, and I could see where it would be really easy. I've never had a shoulder repair. Like a torn meniscus or anything like that. Or not torn meniscus, that's in your knee.
I think that's in your knee.
Rotator cuff is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a thing there, but I've never had one.
There's a thing and it's common.
Yeah. I've never had to go through any of that. So I've seen lots of people walking around with their arm pinned to the side of their body, and basically in a sling for, a month. And I think that's what my dad's recovery was when he had his most recent one done. And so, you kind of see some of that stuff and go, it wasn't so bad. 2 weeks, 5 pounds, that wasn't so bad. And then it's not like, okay, 2 weeks, 14 days is up and go ahead and start, carrying bags of concrete around again. So it was,
Yeah.
it was
You had to ease back into it, right?
right. Right.
And yours was a repair from, it was related to some type of hernia
Yeah.
thing, right? Is that what it,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and so I can imagine. Well, I remember in the episode you said your doctor was like, "Look, there's like a 99% chance this goes well, and or whatever that percentage is, the opposite is up to you, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
There's,
the effectiveness of the surgery.
there's like a 99% chance everything's going to be just fine. So long as I do my part was the gist of it. Go ahead, start lifting heavy stuff and you'll be back here and we'll be taking more evasive, measures. So,
It's funny because that's kind of how it went for me too. So I was really nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I think I even said in the episode, like, look, I must be nervous. I'm thinking about it all the time, right?
yeah,
And so the funny thing is, and I know I said it then too. This carpal tunnel thing, totally routine surgery. It's something that they do hundreds of them. Your doctor will have done hundreds of them. It's super predictable outcome. There's really nothing. There's no mystery behind this, and they've done it so many times that they know they can tell you exactly what to expect, and they're pretty much right on. They don't tell you a couple things that might kind of scare you a little bit. No, and it's not that bad, but basically it goes like this. You go in day of your surgery, and I'm going over this a little bit because these are the kind of questions that I keep getting in my DMs, and I'm hoping that somebody might listen to this and realize it's really not that big a deal. So you go into the day of your surgery, or at least this is how my experience went. They numb you up. That's the most painful part. I'm not going to lie to you. That part sucked. It sucked bad for about 2.5, 3 minutes, and that's it. Honestly, that was the most stressful part.
Sure.
Once you're numbed up, by the way, you're going into an operating room. So I thought they tell you things like, oh, you're just going to have localized, local pain meds, not
anesthetic,
not anesthesia and all this stuff. Right. So I'm going in, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to wear some comfy clothes and whatever. And they're just going to strap my arm down. And like, no, you go into an operating room. So now you're down to your underwear. Yeah. In an open back gown. The one thing is you're not walking around, so that's okay with me.
Sure.
But, I thought I was going to end up giving somebody a show as soon as they handed me the gown. I'm like, what? This isn't what I thought I was signed up for. But anyway, so they put you in the gown, they lay you in a bed, and then they come in, and they numb your hand up, and right in the palm of your hand, like right at the base. And it's like wicked painful. But then that's kind of the end of the pain, to be completely honest with you. They bring you into an OR operating room. They put a tourniquet on your arm, which is not awesome. That would be the next thing that I didn't love about the whole situation, because after about 20 minutes of having a tourniquet on your arm, no matter how much they numbed you up, just like the rest of your body is like, what in the world is going on here? This is really uncomfortable. But honestly, 5 more minutes, 25 minutes, maybe I was in there, 30 at the most.
Sure.
And they had taken care of business.
Yeah.
And what they do is they make an incision. I think they were about 1 inch to 1.25 inches long. Just kind of in the crease of the palm of your hand. And because we have meaty hands, we're working with wrenches, it's like cutting open the bottom of your foot. It's like thick, leathery skin, right? It ain't good. It's going to take a while to heal. But they cut open this passageway that your nerves run through from your arm and your hand, and that's what's causing this pain, this numbness, all this kind of stuff. And because it's putting pressure on those nerves, and the nerves are what you're experiencing the pain and numbness because of that pressure. So they relieve it. It's called a carpal tunnel release surgery.
Sure.
And once they do that, I'm not kidding you, same day I could tell a difference on that hand. And so they stitch you up a couple times, inside, outside, that kind of thing, bandage you, wrap it all up, and say, hey, keep these Band-Aids on, or this wrap on here for 4 days if you can. Don't get it wet, blah blah blah. Then, day 4 comes along. You go home. The numbness wears off. It gets a little painful, but I never took more than a half of a prescribed pain pill that they gave me. I don't like
Sure.
that stuff. It makes me a little loopy.
Yep.
So I just I took one half of it because the first, as it wore off the first time around, I was like, whoa,
Ooh, that hurts.
this isn't great. Of course you just had a hole cut in your arm, right? Or your hand. It wore off. Took that one half of a pain pill. I'm like, yeah, I don't like these things. So then I just took ibuprofen. I was fine. It just more or less was just kind of an ache and a sharp kind of shooting here and there pain because, of course, you've got an incision. And really no big deal. Yeah. Look, you're not working. You're not going back to work. I've heard people, I watch people in the comments and stuff and they're like, yeah, I went back to work the next day. I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because I tell you what, no, you didn't. Even the first day sleeping was a little like, oh, you get a little zinger. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's right. I had surgery on my hand,
Right. Well, and your hand, I mean, you think about that. Like if you cut yourself across the palm, like just working, it takes for freaking ever for that to heal because you're constantly grinding it. It's just not a convenient place to heal.
No. And I'm going on 7.5 weeks since my first one. Right.
Yeah.
And I still have a very slight scab in where the incision was. Right.
Sure.
And the healing process is pretty straightforward. 2 weeks, they take the stitches out. After the 4 days, you've got that bandage off and you just keep it clean, keep it bandaged. Yeah. If you can do anything, which I'd be surprised in that, even week 1.5 to 2, I'd be surprised if you're doing much of anything. And if you are, it's definitely going to hurt. You're going to get some, let's just call it major discomfort if you try to pick up a wrench and do something. Maybe some people can. I'm doubtful on that though. Just basic. Sure. I experienced it on both hands, so I have a pretty good, fresh perspective on this.
Yeah.
I got the stitches out, and then it's just healing at that point. It's just this big, nasty looking scab. You know what I mean? Right. Because of that, like you just said, like that skin. It's like the doctor even said, like, look, you have the different hands than if somebody that came in here and worked, didn't work with tools every day.
Sure.
The skin is just different. It happens over time and it's very calloused. It's just very thick and that is not going to heal quickly. It's going to take weeks.
That's not a benefit at this point.
Right. Exactly. It is a disadvantage. Yeah. And so I'm on 4.5 weeks on my left hand and it's a gnarly looking, scab. I'm not going to, I've posted a couple pictures over on my stories and stuff just because people have been asking about it. Yeah. I don't think it's gross looking. Well, I mean, that's subjective, but it's not gruesome. Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. If you know what you're looking at, then it's not that bad. Point of all of this, I wanted to go over just kind of how it goes.
Right.
And I'll say I think 3 weeks after the surgery, I was working again with the first one, right?
Yep.
In between the 2 surgeries, I did a boiler installation.
Right.
Might have been pushing it a little bit. The only part I would say I was pushing was when I hung that stupid combi on the wall, which is, as you know, the same exact combi that you've installed many times too.
Yeah. It's heavy.
It's not a light piece of equipment.
No.
Yeah. It's a little bulky. But put that up there on the wall and I knew it, I was like, oh crap.
Ooh, yeah. The worst part about
that, what's that?
I was gonna say the worst part about stuff like that is that you don't really realize it till you're like 78% of the way there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You're like, oh, this is really heavy. I hope I can do this by myself.
Yeah.
Who put that bracket so high?
Yeah, exactly. And even that one, I was like, I had a very tight space and I was reusing existing concentric venting.
So it
and
had
I was
to be
like,
on.
I got nothing. I got no adjustment here. This goes exactly where the old one was so that it mates up exactly with the vent piping. But yeah, so 3 weeks I could see enough healing had taken place where you could be careful. But it was it was careful in a way that like I was pretty much carrying everything with my left hand that had not been opened up yet. You know what I
Sure.
mean? I go pick up a wrench and I'd be like, oh yeah, no, not quite as strong as I thought I was, you know, just things like that. You're reminded of it. I carried in you brought up the bags of salt or whatever it was
Right.
just a minute ago. Like, look, I actually was at Menards. I'm like, oh, need softener salt. So I pick up just a couple bags
Yeah.
and I'm carrying them out just by the handles, just 40 pounders.
Right.
And this is on both, one in each hand. In my right hand, the first one that's like, you know, fully healed basically was fine. My left hand, which was at 3 weeks, was not super fine. I'm just going to tell you that. Like, it was very uncomfortable, and I stopped 2 times on the way out to my van in the parking lot.
You're like, oh, I'm so
to
weak.
set it on the ground. Yeah,
I don't want anybody to see me that I can't carry this bag of salt.
I know. It was
so lame.
stressful. Yes, it was stressful for a minute. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, there's 15 minutes on my carpal tunnel surgery, but I'll be honest with you, I think it's worth bringing up. Maybe people have already tuned out, but this is a couple of things I learned about all of this in retrospect, looking back on our episode 279 there when we talked about it originally. You know, we were so dead on. I hate to say like we were right because it just sounds stupid, but
We were.
we were. Look, this is not something that should be put off because it is what they say it is. It's predictable. It's not that big a deal. It's a setback in your timing of, you know, you're going to lose time. And you don't have to do both of them immediately like I did back to back. But here's why I did that. I'm very good at this. I'm very good at saying, oh, yeah, we'll just schedule that later and then not scheduling it. Right.
Yeah.
And so when we set this up, Heather and I had talked about it ahead of time. She asked me, she's like, are you going to do them both? And I'm like, well, they don't do them at the same time. And she's like, no, you're going to have them both done though, right? And I said, yes. And she said, well, then I think you just need to schedule them.
And just be done.
In this meeting. Yeah, that first consult, you know, like schedule them both. Then it's done. And I had to I didn't fight her on it, but I was like, trying to figure out how I could come back and say, well, maybe I don't want, and then I just realized, you know what, she's right. Just get it over with. And I'm glad I did. Super glad I did. Real quick, back to that first one. It's funny because I'm healing. I still have it wrapped up and everything. So like, I'm like a day, let's say a day or two from surgery.
Right.
And I'm laying there and I wake up at night. And that was my biggest issue with carpal tunnel is it would wake me up while I was sleeping.
Sure.
My hands would be numb and it was painful in my forearms. And it was just anything that wakes you up sucks. I'm just going to say that. I don't care why it is. You lose sleep. It really affects everything.
Sure.
And I woke up and I was almost like instantly stressed. I'm like, oh crap. And I realized I woke up because my left arm, the one that had not been done yet, was numb and waking me up. But not my right. And I'm like, and my right was the worst one of all. And so I realized like immediate relief from this procedure.
Right.
So then my attitude changed like immediately right then. Like it took me a second to, you know, cognitively, I'm like sleeping. I'm like trying to figure this out, but like, why am I waking up? I just had to, you know, I realized, oh, it's the other arm that hasn't been done yet. I'm not waking up because I haven't had any issues with the right one. It's done. It's gone. And then it just realized like, I can't wait to have the second one done.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I got it done. Haven't had any issues since. I've been healing. That sucks. I'm not going to lie. It's not the greatest thing in the world. No issues. 100% gone. Just like they said and promised and said, like, this is why you do this. You know, you shouldn't have to live with this kind of crap.
Yep.
Oh, I was so happy to have it done. And that's why I want to talk about it. You know, like I said, we were right.
It's interesting that, you know, that stuff that we do put it off for so long. You know, to be like uncomfortable, you know, not able to perform as well as you'd like to. And, you know, it's just like, God, why?
You know, it's kind of funny. It's not that much different than, you know, like if you, let's say you keep stubbing your foot on a piece of furniture at night in your bedroom. Eventually you'd probably move the piece of furniture, right? Or walk a different way.
Right. Yep.
You're not just going to be like, oh, no, eventually, after my toe has been broke, I'll probably figure out not to step in that path anymore.
Right.
No, you move the furniture. It's the same thing. Just you're dealing with something. It's giving you trouble.
Yep.
get taken care of. We've talked about this in the past. We're talking about it again.
Right.
I think it's worth bringing it up, and I'm glad we did. So that's all I got, man.
Well, that's I feel the same about mine. I kick myself for saying, "Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's done and behind us now, and moving on.
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. I'm moving on. And that's why we wanted to talk about this today on the Make Trades Great Again podcast. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. This is the MTGA network. Still, I can't do it.
Spoken softly.
What was that?
I don't know.
Was that was it Stuart? Remember Stuart?
Stuart Smalley.
No, no, Stuart from was it Mad TV?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't know either. Okay.
Right.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for listening. Andy, you got anything you want to add before we sign off?
Nope, I am out.
Out. I think HVAC Jay's gonna be glad we're back on the air.
I hope so. I hope so.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks.
All right. See ya.